Hi, this is Shel Osmond, lead pastor of Life Church Smyrna. I want to encourage you to watch today's video from Restart, part number 2. The message today is brought by John Doherty, and it's a message that will encourage you to start or restart an active prayer life. It will change your world. God bless you.
Amen. In 26 years of full-time vocational ministry, in 6 years in the district office, I have never had a church give my girls a gift. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That means a lot to me.
You're welcome.
I don't like traveling without them because they make me look good. But Emily is 16, and she and her younger sister Anna, who is 15, that's right, I have 2 teenage daughters in the house, went with their mom this weekend to the ladies' event down in Columbus, and they set up a thrift store to raise money for Speak Alive. And so they were working this weekend doing that, and then Mom decided to take them whitewater rafting afterwards, and so they stayed over in Columbus, and they were unable to come with me today. Jennifer is my wonderful bride. We've been married this December 22 years, and the Lord has blessed us. Yes. Her mom didn't want her to marry a preacher because I would have taken her to some place like Alabama. That was an exact quote. I wound up taking her to the Middle East for 8 years, so that was even better. She is a dear lady, and I know her better than anyone in the world, and she has what I would call a pure heart. She loves people, and she loves ministry, and she loves Jesus, and so the Lord has blessed me with an incredible family, and the Lord has been good to me. A little bit about me in the background. I know I'm talking a lot about me, but can I just say this? Let me inject this real quick. I have the luxury of going to churches all over Georgia and really all over the nation. I'm invited to speak all kinds of places. And I walk in the door, and immediately I just begin to sum things up. Let me tell you, when I decided this morning at Life Church Smyrna, when I walked in and there was a newcomer's breakfast going on downstairs, there is a welcoming of new church members, and then there's an adorable baby. I don't know where that baby went, sitting right behind me. That sweet little boy. You know what? I decided there's a lot of life at Life Church. There's a lot of life. Pastor Shell, thank you for your wonderful hospitality, and he is an incredible leader for Georgia. This is an amazing church. I was saved in 19, none of your business, at 10 years old, at a kids camp down in Forsyth. This was a campground there. I have the luxury of running camps now in the summertime. We had about a little over 1,500 come through our youth camps this summer. The Lord just did a great job there. My grandmother was an Assemblies of God evangelist. Her name was Lois Hale, which is an unfortunate last name for an evangelist. But she traveled the revival circuit in the 60s and 70s, and she's gone on to be with the Lord. And so church and being a part of church has just been my life, and I just enjoy doing life in the church. This has been an incredible experience for me, and I started in youth ministry in 1991, way back when, and the Lord called me to the mission field in 1995. Jennifer and I served in the Middle East, in Jerusalem, in Arab East Jerusalem, working primarily with Palestinian Muslims, and we planted churches. We operated a Christian school there. I also planted a church in the Jewish community down in Ashkelon, in the Russian expatriate area down there, and so we planted an international church in Jerusalem, and so we had an incredible time on the mission field. We love missionaries, don't we? Everybody loves missionaries. I see all your flags over here. Praise the Lord that you believe in reaching the world with the gospel. Everyone deserves to hear the gospel.
Yes.
And so we worked there, and through a series of circumstances. God speaks through circumstances sometimes. And Jennifer's father became ill and needed a kidney transplant, and she was the primary caregiver for him. And so the Lord closed the door in the Middle East. and we moved back to the States because we had planned on taking Granddaddy Dunlap with us back to Jerusalem. You know, we're just going to go get Granddaddy and take him with us, right?
Yeah.
Well, his doctor here in the States was from the village we lived in Jerusalem.
Wow.
And Dr. Cabani said, if you take your father-in-law with you, it's a death sentence because the viruses and the bacteria there are different than what he's used to here. His kidney transplant, immune system is suppressed and all these things. He said, you can't take it with you. And so after dedicating our lives to missions, we moved back to the States. And we began serving on staff in the church there in Macon, at Parkway Assembly. And in 2011, I was asked to serve as the district youth director. I've had an incredible experience growing up in the church.
Yeah, thank God.
The Lord has been good to me. How many of us can say that? Can you say that the Lord has been good to you? The Lord has been good to you. I am 18 years old.
Amen.
You do the math. I'm still in my 30s.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't judge me. And I still have most of my hair. I'm in pretty good shape, and I have a beautiful family.
Yes.
Now, you're looking and you're thinking, man, this guy's got everything. No, I have problems too. We have issues and problems that we deal with in life, but we press on through and we minister through those.
Amen.
And God has just been good to us.
Thank you.
I've had an incredible experience in ministry. The Lord has been able to use us, and Jennifer's our teen girls ministry representative in Georgia, so she's working primarily with our girls, our teenage girls. You know, we need gender-specific ministry for young ladies and men. And so the Lord has just allowed us to have an incredible experience growing up. I have a little story I want to tell you, and then we're going to jump right into the message. By the way, you guys are going to get out at noon. Okay? I have one gift as a guest speaker, and that is brevity. All right? I don't preach a long time. So, you know, you can go ahead and text your friends that you're going to beat them to lunch. Wait, you're not supposed to text in church. I didn't say that. A quick story, and then I'm going to jump on into our restarting prayer. It was an August morning in Jerusalem. We were getting ready for the school year, and our books were being delivered from the United States. You know, everybody wants to, not everybody, but most people want to live in the United States. And so the reason our Christian school in Jerusalem was so popular is because we were teaching them to be native English speakers, and they were getting a U.S. education, and that way they could transfer right into a university here in Georgia, in the United States. We were getting ready for the school year. We had to have our books delivered from the United States, and they were stuck in customs up in Haifa. And I had to get those books delivered and out of customs down to Jerusalem because we were just within a few days. We had to distribute the books and whatnot. And so I was getting kind of nervous. I know y'all are all holy and sanctified. Y'all don't get nervous or anxious about anything, but it was getting to the deadline. And finally, we were able to get the books out of customs, and I needed someone to deliver them from Jerusalem. I was from Haifa down to Jerusalem. It was about a ton of books, about 2,000 pounds worth of books that we needed delivered, and my Speed Delight Fiat would not drive to that. And so we hired a driver to bring the books down to Jerusalem. He called me on my StarTAC. Anybody remember the StarTAC cell phones from the 90s?
Yeah.
Those things were brilliant. And so he called me on my cell phone, and in his broken English and in my broken Hebrew, we understood that he would not deliver my books to my Arab neighborhood. Being a Jewish guy, he said, look, it's a safety issue. I'm not bringing your books all the way there. You've got to meet me at the Hyatt Regency Hotel there in Ramat Eshkol, and you've got to get your books for me there. And I'm like, look, guy, there's no way that I can deliver 2,000 pounds of books from the Hyatt Regency over to my school. I really need you to do this. I bartered with him, and you guys, anybody speak Arabic, you know what a bakshish is. A bakshish is sort of like a bribe. If you need to get anything done in the Middle East, you got to understand what a bakshish is. And so I'm like, look, I'll take care of you, whatever. Just drive him over here. I promise you're going to be safe. You'll be fine. I will meet you at the Hyatt, and I will even ride with you in the truck just to guarantee your safety. You don't have to worry about it. No, I'm not going to do it. So I went up to the Hyatt. And I met him there, and in my best Middle Eastern convincing tone, because if you see anything, people arguing or whatever, you'll see them do this on their mustache or whatever. And what they're saying is, if I'm lying to you, I'll shave half my mustache off. Wow. Or they'll grab their beard and they'll pull on their beard when they're trying to talk to you. And basically what they're saying is, I will shave my beard if I'm lying to you. Or they'll pat the top of their head like this. In Arabic, it means ala rasak, which means your safety is on my head. It's my responsibility. And I was doing all of that. I mean, I didn't even have a mustache, and I was doing this. And so I'm trying to do my best. And there's this mystical time element in the Middle East where everything is only 2 minutes away. If you ask a taxi driver, hey, how far away is this? Oh, it's 2 minutes, 2 minutes. And so everything is just only 2 minutes away. It's a miracle. And so I'm trying to get this guy to go. And I said, look, it's just 2 minutes down the road. It's just 2 minutes down the road. I promise you, it's 2 minutes down the road. And I'm patting my head, I don't know, whatever. This is what he said to me. He laughed, and in his broken English, he said, hell is only 2 minutes away.
Wow.
You know why we love missionaries? Because if we really believe that hell is only 2 minutes away from the lost and the undone,
Jesus.
it changed the way we do everything.
All right.
It changes our mindset, our disposition when it comes to missions and reaching your community for Jesus.
Yeah.
As I drove into the church this morning, I passed that middle school right down the road, and there's a park right across the street. And I'm thinking like a missionary, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I would own that school. Look at that park. Man, you know why? Because hell is really only 2 minutes away.
All right.
For the lost and the undone. That was for free. I'm not even going to take up an offering right now.
All right.
Okay? That's why we love missionaries. All right, so I'm going to get out of my missionary mode, and I'm going to get into my preaching mode. Y'all ready this morning?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
All right, good. You know how great it is that I get to preach on something other than youth ministry?
Yeah.
I know this is going to shock you, but every time I'm invited to go to a church, typically, they want me to talk about, which is great. I mean, I've had my hand in the youth ministry context for all 26 years of ministry. It's so important. If we don't reach the generation that's following us in the church, all is lost.
That's right.
And so I'm preaching that, or I'll go and I'll do mission services, like you just heard part of that, and so or Speed the Light or something. And it's refreshing to me to get to preach on something else.
All right.
And so I may have over-prepared. Go ahead and text that other friend that might not be early for lunch. Restart prayer. Now I know that as Christians and as believers, in some context we have a prayer life. But sometimes our prayer life may just grow cold or may seem frustrating. Just like this video right here. I want you to turn and just watch this real quick for me. Guys, if you go ahead and run that.
Das hier ist ein Mindsektor. Das hier ist das wichtigste Gerät des Christenlichtes. Das Überlebensradar.
Hello? This is the German Coast Guard.
We're thinking.
What are you thinking about?
Sometimes our prayer life is really frustrating.
Yeah.
Because we don't think that God is speaking our language.
All right, tell it, tell it.
You know, when I was going to learn Arabic, and my instructor, by the way, Arabic is very difficult. I can speak it, but I'm horrible at reading or writing it because it is difficult. But this is what my instructor said. When you begin to think in that language, you will have learned that language.
All right, all right, all right.
That's good.
What language do you talk to yourself in?
All right, yeah.
I hope, you know, and I realized after 6 or 7 years on the mission field, I began to talk to myself in Arabic. That I was like, okay, wait, I think I got this thing. But sometimes in our prayer lives, it's almost like we're speaking German and he's speaking English.
Yeah.
And it leads us to an intense frustration, and that leads us to diminish the amount of prayer that we're giving. Or it could be like in Psalms chapter 40 and verse 1, where it says, I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry.
Wow.
But the problem in this portion of Scripture is that Scripture is silent on how much time passed between 1A and 1B.
That's right, that's right.
I waited patiently for the Lord, and He heard my cry. How much time occurred between that word Lord and He?
Yeah, that's good, that's good.
And so when we've been praying that prayer for a month, a year, a decade, we've been praying for that lost loved one, we were praying for that child that is struggling, we've been praying for that spouse, and it seems as if I prayed that prayer and in that sense of frustration, we just began to stop.
Yeah, yeah.
Our prayer life grows cold. We pray a prayer and then we settle in for the long wait. And in that waiting, frustration grows. Today, we are going to look at one of my favorite Old Testament books and one of my favorite characters of the Old Testament, the prayer life of Nehemiah.
Thank you, Lord.
Nehemiah had 3 types of prayers that he prayed, and if you've got your Bibles with you, I want you to turn to Nehemiah chapter 1, and we're going to begin with verse 4. I will apologize. I do my sermons in the NIV, but apparently one of my girls borrowed my NIV Bible as they were going this weekend, and so I am going to read in the New King James. Y'all hold on, all right?
Yeah.
Chapter 1 and verse 4, and so it was when I heard these words that I sat down and I wept and I mourned for many days, and I was fasting and praying before the God of heaven. And I said, I pray, Lord God of heaven, O great and awesome God, you who keep your covenant and mercy with those who love you and observe your commandments, please let your ear be attentive and your eyes be open, that you may hear the prayer of your servant, which I pray before you now, night and day, for the children of Israel, your servants, and confess the sins of the children of Israel, which we have sinned against you. Both my father's house and I have sinned. And we have acted very corruptly against you. We have not kept the commandments, the statutes, or the ordinances which you commanded your servant Moses. Remember, I pray, the word that you commanded your servant Moses, saying, if you are unfaithful, I will scatter you among the nations. But if you return to me and keep my commandments and do them, though some of you were cast out of the farthest part of the heavens, yet I will gather them from there and bring them to the place which I have chosen as a dwelling for my name. Verse 10. Now these are your servants and your people, whom you have redeemed by your great power, by your strong hand. O Lord, I pray, please let your ear be attentive to the prayer of your servant and to the prayer of your servants, and who desire to fear your name, and let your servant prosper this day, I pray, and grant him mercy in the sight of this man, for I was the king's governor. Pinpoint prayers. Specific pinpoint prayers. Nehemiah had 2 of these in this book. The book opens with a passionate prayer of confession and direction. And then later on, we will read it later on in chapter 4 and verse 4. Nehemiah offers a prayer for courage and vindication in the face of his enemies. The opening prayer really sets the tone for the book and gives us a picture of a man who turned to God in prayer the moment things took a downturn. I am reminded that often we try to fix the problem first And then when that doesn't work, we'll pray about it.
All right. All right.
Are there any other type amen in the building this morning?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ladies, you're going to love me because I'm about to give them some advice. All right? One time early in our marriage, Jennifer, we were talking about an issue and there was a problem that had come up and she was talking to me about it. And in my nature, I'm Bob the Builder. I'm going to fix it. You know, I'm going to fix this thing. And so I kept offering ways to fix this problem or fix this issue. And she looked at me and it really changed the way I was a husband after that point. She said, I don't need you to fix it. I need you to listen.
That's good. Been there.
All the ladies are sitting there elbowing their husbands right now. Don't point at him. Goodness, no. Just point at him. It'll be awkward on the ride home.
I know, right?
But I know me. I want to fix it. I want to get it done. I'm going to help Jesus out with this problem. Because you've all heard it said, God helps those that help themselves. You know, that's not in the Bible, by the way, gentlemen. That's not in the Bible. That's Ben Franklin quoting Algernon Sidney from a governmental paper, and he wrote it in Poor Richard's Almanac. God helps those that help themselves. But that can become a trap.
All right.
That can become a trap for Christians because, we're just going to fix it. And there's a time, I think, that God looks at us and shakes his head and says, you're not going to fix this. If you would just come to me first, I would save you a lot of grief and heartache. How many times in our walk with the Lord have we gone through the process of learning that it is about prayer and about our need to be with him in prayer and not about the issue? The truth is, God helps the helpless. Isaiah 25 and verse 4, it says this, for you have been a stronghold to the poor, a stronghold to the needy in his distress, a shelter from the storm and a shade from the heat. It is okay for us to be vulnerable with God.
Yeah.
He helps the helpless.
Yes, he does.
And I know I'm that guy. Y'all going to learn too much about me this morning. I'm that guy that's just, man, we're going to grab the bull by the horns and we're just going to take care of this issue. I'm a problem solver.
Yeah.
I've had to learn and relearn that God wants us to come to him first in the situation and regardless of the circumstances.
Yes, sir.
The Lord's Prayer that is found in Matthew chapter 6, verses 9 through 13, don't need to read it, is an example of a pinpoint prayer. We all know the Lord's Prayer. Jesus obviously was giving us a model outline for how our prayers might flow. There's no fluff, there's no fat, there's no extra words or theologically heavy terms.
That's right.
I think a lot of times we get scared off of our prayer life because we feel like that we've got to say a lot of these, thous, and those.
Yeah.
Thou Holy One who is high above, thou art all this, and we get scared off because it's not elaborate. Let me tell you, some of my prayers, y'all, here I am a district official, some of my prayers sometimes, guys, I'm going to be honest, are just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can't be real with Jesus, who are you ever going to be real
All
with?
right.
He's given us an example. It's just that simple, spot on, pinpoint accuracy. Will Davis Jr. in his book, Pray Big, says it best. With a mere 58 Greek words, Jesus acknowledged the character and sovereignty of God, surrendered to the Father's will, and sought provision, protection, and guidance from God. Now that's a pinpoint prayer.
Yeah.
Let's be specific about what it is that we need God to do.
Yes, sir.
Well, the Lord knows my needs before I even ask. I think that there's a time when we as Christians have to do the asking.
Yes, sir.
We have to do the big asking.
Right.
God, I need you to move this mountain out of the way. I need you to do this. God, would you have mercy in this area of my life? Lord, would you save my lost son? Lord, would you save my lost daughter? God, would you redeem this? What looks like the enemy is winning, redeem it for your good, God.
Yes.
Pinpoint, accurate prayers. Number 2, More prevalent in the book of Nehemiah are Nehemiah's petite prayers. Quick, short prayers. These are scattered throughout, but are concentrated primarily in chapter 6 and 13. And in each case, Nehemiah can be seen looking to God for answers in these short petitions. Nehemiah 5:19, he's seeking God's blessing. Nehemiah 6:9, he's seeking God's strength. Nehemiah 6:14, he wants God's vengeance on someone. By the way, I just want you to know that reading this prayer of Nehemiah, a man considered to be a man of God, he said, Lord, don't you let them get away with it.
That's right.
Have y'all ever prayed that, or am I the only one? Have you ever done that where, Lord, I can't do anything about that, but this is what Nehemiah said. Lord, don't forget
Don't forget
what they did.
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's not Christian, is it? I don't know, man. Maybe I need to get saved because I pray for this. Nehemiah 13:14, seeking God's remembrance. Nehemiah 13:22, seeking God's mercy. Nehemiah 13:29, his faithfulness. Nehemiah 13:30, his favor. From each of these, we can see that turning to God in prayer doesn't always mean retiring to a prayer closet.
That's right. Yeah.
It was a Saturday morning on a beautiful spring day in downtown Jerusalem. If you've ever been to Jerusalem, go in springtime. The rains have finished. The hills are blooming. They're alive. I had a young man working for me. His name was Wayne Fraley. Wayne used to be the fullback for Arizona State. This mass of humanity. I mean, he had muscles that I don't even know what you were supposed to have muscles there. He had no neck. You know what I'm talking about? He's a big old football player. He's the guy that broke his neck in the Fiesta Bowl against Miami in the early 90s.
Wow.
And came to know Jesus through that. They were able to repair his neck, no paralysis, no problems. And he found Jesus in that and dedicated a year of his life to the mission field before he went on to his career as a trainer. Wayne and I were walking in what's called the Sultan's Pool Park. There's right outside the old city, between the Mount Zion Hotel and the Armenian Quarter. There's the Hinnom Valley runs on that side of Jerusalem. And it was Wayne and myself and my wife, and we were going down there to check out the park for an event we were going to do. We were going to teach Palestinian kids how to play American football, okay? Because football to them is soccer, and we all know that soccer's for girls. And so, I say that. Don't tweet that. We were going to check it out. And so I was driving my speed light Fiat down there. We went down to the park, and we found between the Mount Zion Hotel and the Armenian Quarter of the old city, there is a cable run all the way across the valley. Big old 3-inch cable. And it is the cable car that they used during the 6-day war to ferry ammunition over to the old city and wounded soldiers back over to the Mount Zion Hotel to be treated. And they turned it into a monument. It's called the Cable Car Monument. And right in the middle of this cable across the Hinnom Valley, going right down to the Sultan's Pool, right there in the middle, there's another cable hanging down, almost touching the ground. And you got two big old guys, athletic guys out there. And so if you find a cable in the middle of an empty field, what are you going to do?
Swing on it.
You're going to swing on it.
There you go.
You turn it into a swing. And so we start with, my wife's over there shaking her head, and me and Wayne over there having fun, And we're swinging on this big cable out there. This is having a blast. We figured out, though, by accident, that if you pull down on the cable, it will lift you back up in the air. So it's on now.
Yes, sir.
We pull down on the cable, and it throws us up in the air, and my wife's over there just shaking her head. We're over there having a blast. And then, Wayne, this big old guy, we figured out that if both of us pulled down and one let go, oh, it's really on. And so we were out there having a blast, and you've got two male athletes, so of course it turns into a contest of who can go the highest. Right. Because we're guys, and that's what we do, right? All the ladies are shaking their heads. Yeah. And so we pull down this cable, and I go flying up in the air, we pull down, Wayne goes flying up in the air, my wife's over there shaking her head. We pulled down on it one time too hard. And the cable broke. But not the cable that was hanging down from the middle. the cable car monument broke. We broke the cable car monument. From the Mount Zion Hotel, across the Hinnom Valley, across roads, houses, whatever there was lining up until the Armenian quarter of the old city, we broke the cable car monument. And so in situations like that, as soon as we got missionaries, we ran. Oh wait, are we live streaming this?
Yes, sir.
You know, if the Israeli authorities are watching, my name is Shell Osborne. The next day, on the back page of Jerusalem Post, and if I'm lying, I'm a purple uniform. Terrorists desecrate cable car monument. I had that newspaper in my hand. Oh. But you know what we did is we were running away. By the way, I just want you to know, young people that are listening, that was irresponsible of us, and we should have stayed there and been responsible and all that stuff. Don't copy that. But as we were running back to my Speed of Life Fiat Uno, we're praying one of those prayers.
Yes, sir.
Oh Jesus, we gotta get out of here. Oh, help us get out of here. Oh, we're living on the Arab side of town and the Jewish side. We're foreigners. There's no telling what was going to happen to us. We prayed one of those prayers. It was a petite prayer. It was a fast prayer. It was like, Jesus, help me get through this.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, church. It's okay for us in our moments to reach out to Jesus. It doesn't have to be an elaborate prayer closet moment. It can be one of those things as you're going into a meeting. Lord, I need you to give me favor in this situation. I'm going to ask for a raise.
Yes.
Be with me.
Yes, sir.
And that's okay. It doesn't have to be flat. You're not going to impress God with your prayers. You're not going to impress God with the length of your prayers or with the words we use. He is thoroughly unimpressed with us.
Right.
Petite prayers are okay. Nehemiah would offer a quick prayer as he faced an obstacle or an issue and then move on in faith knowing that an answer awaited.
Yes, sir.
The picture we get is of someone who is strongly dependent on God to get things done.
Yes.
Point number 3. The less elaborate private prayers. Private prayers. If you look at Nehemiah chapter 2, verse 4, Nehemiah is confronted by the king because of his sad countenance. Before starting to explain to the king, and we see it in chapter 2 and verse 4, and then the king said to me, what do you request? And so I prayed to the God of heaven. I prayed to the God of heaven. In the flow of the narrative, it seems like Nehemiah is offering an under-the-breath prayer, which isn't recorded word for word, but indicates a man who doesn't really do anything without praying about it first.
Yeah.
How radically different would our decision-making be if we lived a mindset like Nehemiah?
Yes, sir.
That he didn't do a thing. He didn't go into a meeting with the king without saying a quick prayer. I prayed. Now this morning, what is the big takeaway from all of this? I know we're talking about the prayer life of Nehemiah, this great man. He was just a person.
Yeah.
He wasn't a priest. He wasn't a prophet. He was a normal person with a job that demonstrated a life of prayerfulness. The big takeaway is that Nehemiah's prayer life was a disposition. It was a disposition. It was a mindset. And why did Nehemiah do this? This is what it's called. It's called dispositional optimism. Dispositional optimism. Generalized outcome expectancies that good things rather than bad things will happen.
Yeah.
What is your disposition? When we talk about someone with their disposition, well, that person's a cheerful person, and that person's a morning person. We don't like those people. And those people that their head pops off the pillow and they're smiling and the birds are chirping and the bees are buzzing. I married one of those people. Okay? We don't like them. I'm a 10 a.m. kind of guy. And I'm a 10 a.m. guy in an 8 a.m. world. That's my problem. I get more work done between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. than most people get done in 8 hours. It's a disposition. Is our disposition, our mindset, the way we think, tuned into the fact that God hears our prayers and will answer them, and He is for us and not against us?
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
In my years of ministry, I've counseled a lot of Christians who have come to me and said, I think God's mad at me. I think maybe I've sinned so much, or I've been so wishy-washy. I think because if you look at all the circumstances and the things going in my life, it's almost like God is against me.
Wow.
And I've had to sit and counsel with them and change their thinking. Because there couldn't be anything further from the truth.
That's right.
God is for you.
Yes, He is. Yes.
And in spiritual terms, it's the knowing that God is listening and knowing that He is for you.
Yeah.
You know what your knower is? You know or knows? When you know something, what's the first thing a person knows?
Yeah.
Old Jed's a millionaire.
Yeah.
Y'all get that on the way home. Not even one laugh. First thing you know, Jed's a millionaire. Come on, y'all. How many of you were raised in the 70s? I ain't working up here. Y'all are killing me. First thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire.
Yeah.
That wasn't funny. I'm just going to scratch that from next time I preach this. That's out. Wow, it's tough crap. Your knower knows that He is listening. And if someone is listening, you're going to talk to them.
That's right.
And not only that, He is listening and He's for you. Your knower knows that God is for you and He is not against you.
That's right.
That He is your child. You are His child. And that you are owned by Him.
That's right.
Now, I have 3 precious little girls, and I tease them all the time about how I'm going to torment the boys that come to the house.
That's right.
To take them out on a date.
There you go.
And so, they're pretty. I mean, they look like their mama. They're tall. I got one that's almost 6 foot, and she's 16 years old, and long brunette hair. And the other one's a blonde, and she's a drop dead gorgeous. And they're good. And so, the boys are going to come calling.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They already are.
Oh, Lord.
One of them went on a date the other night, or the other day, rather. She came upstairs. They have a bedroom downstairs. The 2 older ones share a bedroom downstairs. And she came upstairs, and I'm holding a machine gun.
Yes, sir.
And I've got a Rambo knife in my belt. And she says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Honey, I'm just ready to go on the date with you." And I turned to her mother, and I have one of these aftermarket clips on this thing. I said, "Jennifer, do you think the 50-round clip or the 30-round clip would be better?" My daughter took a picture of me, and she's like, I've got to share this. I told her she can't share me holding a gun on social media. Now, I'm teasing, okay, because they're going to find good godly boys. Good godly boys don't grow on trees, by the way. You find them in church.
All right.
And good godly girls don't grow on trees. You find them in church.
All right.
Okay? And so I'm teasing her about this, but there's a part of me, because she is mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I love her with all my heart.
Yes, sir.
And though we're joking, I've never met a mother who wouldn't give her life to save the life of one of her children.
That's true.
And I've never met a dad that wouldn't give his life to save the life of one of his children.
Yeah.
God is for you.
Yes, He is. Yes, He is.
And He is listening.
Yes, He is. Thank you, Lord.
He is present. He is Jehovah Shammah.
Yes.
The God who is near.
Yes, oh God.
Why do we need to restart a prayer life? Because He is anxiously awaiting to hear from us.
Yes.
He is anxiously awaiting to do on our behalf.
Yes, He is.
He is anxiously awaiting to bless us abundantly.
Yes, sir. God.
But we have to speak.
Yes.
So this morning, Life Church Smyrna, we've had some fun. We've talked about good things, but here is the big ask from the speaker. Will you restart an intense dispositional prayer life this morning? Where our mindset is set on the things of heaven?
Yes.
Where our inwardness knows that God is listening and He is for me.
Yes.
I don't frustrate Him with my prayers. He doesn't grow tired or weary of hearing from me.
Right.
He is anxiously awaiting that
Thank
call.
God. Yes. Yes, sir.
And it's time for us to restart again. Can I ask
Yes.
my sister to come back to that keyboard if she would?
Thank you.
I want to ask you this morning, would you stand as we begin to close? I have an odd way of doing responses. Every hand up, every eye open. Because there's no shame in your game.
All right. All right.
I have to tell the Lord all the time, Jesus, I'm a wicked-hearted sinner who needs you.
Yeah, Lord.
I know you're all thinking that everybody in the district office that we float down the halls
All right.
and that we have coffee with angels every morning in the break room. We're people.
That's right. That's right.
We're people with struggles and trials and tribulations and inward battles. You know, even Paul said, I'm two people and I'm warring against myself. One man wants to do wrong and the other man wants to do right. Listen, we're all like that. There's no shame in my game. Every hand up, every eye open. How many people this morning would be willing to say to Pastor John, you know what? I've grown weary in my prayer life. I've grown weary. My disposition isn't towards God. My disposition is to try to fix it myself or work my way out of it. How many of us this morning, just simply by raising your hand, would be willing to say, that's me, Pastor John, that's me. I need to restart my prayer life. I need to restart my communication with Him. Wow, wow, wow. All over the building. Yes, yes. Guess what? I've got my hand up too.
Yeah.
You can get so busy
Yes, sir.
in the ministry
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
that you forget to talk to Jesus.
That's true. That's true.
Everybody raise your hand this morning. I'm going to ask you to do one more thing. I'm going to ask you to get out from where you are, and I want you to come down here. I just want to pray for you.
Yes.
I just want to pray for strength over your life. Come on. There's no shame in our game. Come on. I just want to pray for you.